Hey, it's Chad Lubin, Summit Funding. I am here today. Some of our clients requested this, and we have a small group in the room that I'm helping teach the personal family budget to. So anytime I present or I listen to a presenter, I want to know why I should listen to them. So please know I'm in a coaching program and a coach in it called the Core Training. So a lot of what I bring to my realtor partners, to my clients, is just lessons that I've learned from the mentors in my life. So gosh, if I can be a mentor so you don't have to go through some of the struggles that I've had financially, I would love to be that person. So today I want to talk to you about just a budget and a system that's changed my life. It's called the personal family budget. So I look back at my 10-year journey since I started on this budget, and I just wanted to share some of the numbers with you. I went from, being single, all I did is work and party. I didn't have any love in my life. I didn't have a family. I was what anyone would now consider, looking back, an alcoholic. I was into drugs and partying, and I was working really hard and making a good income, but I wasn't tactical with my money. And a lot of it was insecurity and just kind of burying my head and thinking I was doing what I needed to do to be successful, but it wasn't anything that was worthwhile. So I'm very proud to say now, 10 years later, I'm in love with the love of my life, Kristen. I have two beautiful girls, and all the alcohol and drugs are all gone, and I'm working on being a great leader, being just impactful in my community, and being a great Christian. So the financial side of that was I was making a great income, way 6 figures plus, but I was spending it all, and I was accumulating debt on top of it. Like, I look back, I'm like, how did that happen? I think it happened because I just buried my head in the sand and didn't pay attention to it. And we work all these long hours and have these careers to make money. We're doing it to make money, right? And then we don't even take an hour out of the month to look at our money, look at our bills, and be tactical with our money instead of just, bills come in, money comes out. So that was me. I've really been dialed into this system for 6 years now. Probably no, that's even a stretch, 5 years. So it's just something I'm passionate about. It has changed my life. I'm proud to say I've went from over $70,000 in debt to a multimillionaire in the stock market, in savings, in real estate equity. A millionaire several times over, and I don't say that to brag or impress you. I just say it to impress upon you that it's a system, and following this system has just changed my life. It's changed my financial trajectory, and candidly, it's changed my daughter's trajectory. I will have a wealth that outlives me, and hopefully outlives them. And it's just from investing and giving my financial advisor money every single month. So any of you that want to see this system and work on it, just comment below with your email address, and Monday my assistant will follow up with the budgeting system, this PowerPoint that I'm speaking off of, and if I can help you in any way, my number's 312-731-4939. I love this system. It's changed my life. So what is the system? To me, it's the personal family budget. It's an Excel spreadsheet, right? So Kristen and I, she's an amazing part, and a lot of the money we've accumulated is because of her being bought in, her being great with spending, and just us keeping each other accountable. So we went from having some I don't want to say marital problems. It wasn't really like, we're going to leave each other. It was never anything like that, but it was like bickering and tension. I was just a jerk. When I look back, like, I held the money over her head. She's allowed me to do everything in business that I've been able to do. She's a rock at home. But I was like using that. She was at home taking care of the girls. I was using that against her, right? And I was like, I make the money, big caveman, and hold it over her head for like every penny she spent. And it was ridiculous and stupid. And gosh, if you're watching, honey, I'm super sorry. And thank you for hanging in there with me and letting me be a better husband and a better father. So it's just something that I believe every couple should sit down once a month. We have a just cool meeting. It's about an hour to hour and a half after the girls go to bed. We usually have a glass of wine. We usually will just talk tactically about the money. Do we still argue about money? Yes. Guess what? It's now contained to that meeting, right? It's contained to that hour to hour and a half. And if we're gonna have conflict, we have healthy conflict, right? Sometimes it might be me still being that jerk, right? I grew up with not much, and to me, the success I've had, I've been scared about that all going away, right? So I've always lived in fear with money because I just wasn't used to having it and I didn't know what to do with it, right? They don't teach us these things in college. They don't teach us these things in high school. I definitely wasn't taught it because, gosh, my mom and dad did amazing to get me to where I'm at, but there wasn't like this big surplus of money and we didn't talk about money. So I just believe it's something for us to talk about. It's something for us to work on. So Kristen and I, once again, we just get together. We have this meeting. We have a rule, okay? Gosh, please, if you're married and you're struggling with this, have this rule. It's changed our life. Every bill that comes in, it goes in the desk drawer, right? It goes in that desk drawer. It's not out. It's not out to create anxiety. It's not sitting there in your face. If you're in debt, that's even worse. You probably think about it every day like I did when I was shamed and embarrassed about it. Like, oh my God, I'm doing well with an income, but I have $70,000 in credit card debt, right? Crazy. So the bills just go in that top drawer of my desk. They are out of sight, out of mind. I do not touch them, right? I don't touch them. I don't think about them. She loves, by the way, to like poke at me, right? And especially if I have a speeding ticket or a parking ticket, like, hey, what'd you do, right? So we even put that in the top drawer. So there's just nothing for us to, for her to poke at me at, and I can't poke at all the Amazon boxes that sit in front of my place. We talk about it at this meeting, right? So the meeting looks like this. So let me set up the meeting, right? The meeting this is how we do it, right? Doesn't mean you have to do it this way, but this is our meeting. And if you're not married and you're watching, just do this with yourself. Grab your glass of wine, grab your beer. It's like, doesn't need to be this big stressful thing. And if you are in debt, get tactical about it and have a system, right? So the meeting is, she grabs all the bills, she starts paying the bills, right? So she starts paying the bills. She lets me know what each of the bills are. I'll give you the system that we use, and then we see what's the total. What is our total, right? Then we look at what is our income for the month, right? Income minus bills equals excess, right? If you're spending above the income, that's a problem. Stop doing it, right? So that's just how we set it up. That's how we work, okay? So I'm gonna set up just our finances and how we create it, right? So I just wanna really drive home that point. If you're not sitting down once a month as a married couple, the biggest factor of divorce by like double of anything else, even above infidelity when surveyed, is money, disagreements about money. So, gosh, there doesn't need to be the disagreements, right? And if they are, contain it to that meeting. So We have a meeting. First thing to take away. Number two, we do it at the end of the month and sit down with the bills and with our budget system, right? We drink a glass of wine or have a beer, so it's a little bit fun. We maybe put some music on, right? And we have discussions about our finances. And the conflict, there is still conflict, right? Our rule as a married couple is it stays into that meeting. It can't go out of that meeting. The meeting's not done until the conflict's over and the emotions are flushed down the drain if there were any. So, do we still argue a little bit? Yes, right? But we contain it to this meeting, right? So, all of that being said, we have that meeting, we pay the bills, right? And we do it at the end of the month or very beginning of the month. Okay, so in order to have this meeting, you got to get organized, right? So this is how we're organized. It is the personal family budget, and you're going to fill one out every month. And most of America doesn't track their finances, right? That's why we're a country of massive debt. It's massive. So the good news is if you start today, you will see where you're spending, you'll see how much you are saving, and you'll begin to see improvements, right? What's up, Jeremy? Glad to have you on. So, money distribution. And gosh, if you're just watching, come back to this. I can send this PowerPoint out to you. Just leave your email in the comments. So this is what I believe in financially that you need to prepare your money for. You have to save 20% per month. Yes, savings to me, if you have credit card debt, when I was paying off that $70,000 in credit card debt, that was a savings, right? So you need to save 20% of your income, right? The best part of that savings is to put it into the stock market, have a financial advisor, and let them invest it, right? If you're not maxing out your 401k, it needs to go into the 401k first. Get a lot of arguments about this, the pre-tax contributions. You're just never gonna beat that rate of return over time. Maybe some investments can beat it once in a while. Over time, it's just not gonna be beat, right? So I just put mine in an S&P 500 index fund. That's my 401k. I like index funds. So 20% of your money should go to savings. 10% of your money should go to giving into charity, right? Once your debt is paid off. So I really work on, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm really working on 10% of my money going to giving. It's crazy, the law of the land. I was super selfish with money and never gave to any causes. Once I started doing it, just more money came back to me. It's God's plan, I believe, is take care of others, let them have a charitable side, and it's just crazy. It naturally comes back, right? So we're 20% to savings, 10% to giving, 40% to taxes, unfortunately, some of us, and 30% to live off of, okay? So 20 to savings, 10 to giving, 40 to taxes, 30 to live off of. I give my clients a super, just like a simple ratio to live by. It's a little bit off of that, but you should live your life in thirds. A third of your money should go to living expenses, including your rent or a new home. A third of your income goes to taxes, right? And a third of your income should go into savings. So you can break up that last savings in like 23% to savings and 10% to giving. So if you don't have a trust, depends on your wealth, you might want to look at that, right? I also have a $1 million insurance umbrella. So for my realtors watching, I've seen a few of you come on, have a $1 million insurance umbrella, especially if you have rental properties, which I don't love, by the way, and I'll get into that and just some of my experiences with them. But That umbrella policy protects you from liability. You have some liability as a realtor. You have some liability as a real estate attorney. I have some liability as a mortgage lender. So I just have that $1 million umbrella policy. I like life insurance. I do 30-year term. I do not buy whole life. I invest the rest. And then just another financial principle that I stand on is before age 50, leverage your real estate. Do not prepay on your mortgage. I believe that money should go into the stock market. So every extra penny that I have goes into the stock market. It creates wealth accumulation. Cash is king. Your money's working for you while you're sleeping. Then at age 50, I want to retire at 60, right? I don't think I'll ever retire, but I want to have the option at age 60 to retire. But at age 50, I'll change that and I'll get very aggressive on paying off my mortgage debt, right? So Kristen and I are buying a new home right now, and we leverage 80% of the home, even though I have the cash to pay. I have the cash to pay for it in cash, right? But I still am going to borrow and leverage the bank's money at 80%. I'll put 20% down. I'll do that. I'm 41, so I'll do that for another 9 years. Then at age 50, I'll get less aggressive on my stock investing. I'll put 50% of my money each month that I have left over, my disposable income. I'll put half towards the mortgage and half towards the stock market. And then, gosh, by age 55, 56, my mortgage will be paid off. So it's a big mistake I see people make, in my opinion. You are paying off mortgage. I've seen so many people, like during the real estate crash, I had so many people come to me and they'd done a great job paying off their mortgage, but they did a terrible job saving for retirement. And the stock market took a tumble, so it wasn't wise for them to take anything out of their retirement if they could. They didn't save enough. They didn't get less aggressive at age 50 in their investing and be more conservative, right? Because they were trying to catch up to get to retirement. They didn't plan early enough, right? So they did a great job paying off that mortgage, but their real estate took a tumble, right? Their stocks took a tumble, and that paid off home did zero for them unless they sold their home at half of the amount. They didn't even have enough of an income from their stocks and their investments to borrow a mortgage for. So it's just something you want to be cognizant of, right? So that is the principles, just the principles once again. Thirds, live your life in thirds. A third of your money should go to living expenses. A third of your money goes to taxes. A third of your money should go to savings. If you're not there yet, it's okay. You want to work towards that. If you're not maxing out your 401k yet, it's okay. Work towards that. So like my clients are on, I see a few of you. What's up, Nikki? How are you? Some of you, like, you did a great job saving for the down payment. Awesome. We bought a home together, right? Now put that towards your savings, right? And then start working on maxing out your 401k and then get into stocks. So take it in steps, right? You already did a great job in the savings department. Cool? So money distribution. And I will send out this PowerPoint so you can see it recapped, anyone that has interest. So I will, let me see if I can turn around and do this for you. And I apologize for my terrible handwriting. But this is our money distribution. So we kind of talked a little bit about it. Can you see that? I got to get out of the way. Ooh, that's a terrible circle. So primary home. 3 times income. Cool? So, wow, that is really bad. But that says primary home, 3 times your income, right? Then you should have cash. 3 months worth of your monthly expenses. So I get a lot of people, they don't know their monthly expenses. That's okay. This system will show you that, right? Retirement. 19K. This means max out your 401k next, right? And then get into the investing. So I'm not gonna write this all down because, wow, that is really bad. I'm sorry, my handwriting's terrible. But just to go over it again, this is what we call the wealth wheel, right? So primary home, 2.5 to 3 times your annual income. Cash in a savings account. Biggest mistake I see a lot of people make, they have this ungodly amount in their savings account. Your money is devaluing by keeping it in a savings account. The rate of return that the banks pay you, your interest rate on your savings account, it doesn't even keep up with inflation. Your money is devaluing keeping it in that vehicle, right? Don't do it. Keep 3 months of expenses in there. If you're like super conservative, keep up to 6 months. But I'll see people, even my students that I coach this on, they'll have like, you know, some of them are doing great financially. They'll have like $100,000 in their savings. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Get that into the market. Your money needs to work for you, right? Then after you have the 3 months of reserves, you go to working on maxing out your 401k. So I just advise people, hey, if it's hard to get money in there, start with $10 a month. And then once that feels comfortable, increase it to $20 a month for a quarter, right? For 3 months, right? Just keep working on it till you get to that $19,000 or as much as you can. Investing, that is last, right? So max out your 401k and then go to the individual stocks. So I've seen like people come in and argue this point with me. And they're like, I'm in Bitcoin, I'm getting these great returns. How did that do for you now? Right? So over time, the rate of return on the 401k, because you're putting money in pre-tax, you're not gonna match it. You're not gonna beat it, right? So 3 times your annual income, buy a primary home, have cash in a checking or savings account, 3 months of your expenses. Retirement, work on getting as much as you can in your 401k. If you don't have one, you can do a Roth or a traditional IRA. I like the 401k because your money comes out pre-tax, right? But it's okay to have like a couple different buckets if you can do a Roth. And then investing. So when I invest, for those of you that have done all those 3 quadrants, I like 50% stocks. I just buy stocks of companies I like, okay? Companies I like are Disney. Why? I don't really like Disney. In fact, I kind of hate them right now because they take a lot of my money because my daughters love princess dresses and they're obsessed with Toy Story 4 and Forky, right? That's all I hear is Forky. I was like, what word did you just say, Coco? And she says, Daddy, Forky, right? I'm like, you need to be careful when you say that word. So Forky and Woody and Buzz are very big. So I like Disney, right? I like Nike, I wear Nike. I like Salesforce because I use Salesforce. I hate Amazon, but I spend a lot of money on it because my wife loves Amazon. So all the boxes outside, I look at them like, well, I might as well get a little of that money back through investing in Amazon. I like Apple because I use all Apple products. So Warren Buffett, who I believe is the best investor in our time, that's just his system. Like he drinks Coca-Cola, so he likes Coke. So I take about 50% of that quadrant and I put it just towards stocks that I like, right? I like index funds. I'm 25% index funds. S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average. That's what I was going for there. And NASDAQ. So like when you hear those things, that's just an index fund. Cool. So for any of the like just higher level investors on, I believe cash net worth. Your cash net worth needs to be double of your equity net worth in real estate, right? So cash net worth needs to be about double. I see people like paying off their mortgage aggressively and all their money is in real estate equity. I don't believe in it. Cash is king. I don't like investment properties just because of my own experiences with them. I started buying investment properties during the crash, 07, 08. I also started investing in the stock market then. Guess what, guys? My money in the stock market has went up 4 times. My money in real estate has went up about 20%, right? So 400% versus 20%, which one's better? My financial advisor, Jeff, if you need a great financial advisor, Jeff Fraticongeli, I speak with him across the country on some of these principles. He's amazing, and I'd be happy to hook you up with him. So, Jeff has experienced the same. Jeff never calls me at 2 a.m. and says, hey, Chad, there's some weird party going on upstairs with your tenants. You need to come over here. The bathtub's overflowing. There's like weird things going on. That has happened to me. My financial advisor never calls me at 3:30 in the morning and says, hey, the furnace is out. It's the polar vortex. It's like 40 below. It's 49 degrees, I think they said, in our apartment. We need to get you over here. And no furnace people are available because everyone's having the same problem. So I have a rental property right now. I'm selling the last one. I've had it for 10 years, right? I have to dump a bunch of money in it to sell it. We tried to sell it without it. All of my returns are either going to get ate up by the government because they clip the capital gains unless I roll it into another investment property, which I don't want to do, and renovating it to sell it. So I don't love real estate investing. I think it's a pain. I just rather keep pounding money in the stock market. So some people disagree with me. I've seen a lot of my clients and friends make great money in the real estate market. Just how much I'm in my career and how involved I am with it, it just doesn't make sense for me. So it's the headaches, it's the pain, and I've seen a way bigger return over the 10-year cycle in the stock market. So to bring back into the budgeting system. So in order to handle your money once a month, you need to change the billing dates of some of your bills and begin to manage them every month. So if you're watching from the beginning, Krista and I sit down once a month. It's the last Saturday or Sunday before the beginning of the month, right? If that fall, and it has to be done by the 4th of the month because my bills start being due then, okay? So throughout each month, I save all my money that's coming into me, right? So I do this through a separate checking account. So we all have direct deposits, right? And if you don't, just keep your checks in a drawer and cash them once a month, right? So money should be tactical, not scary. And if you do this, you're just thinking about and focusing on it once a month, right? Instead of every day, right? So it's just been a big mind shift for me. So all of my money comes into one account. It's a checking account, all right? I call it my column 5 account, which you will see in a second, right? So all of my money goes into one checking account. No bills come out of that checking account. It's just I call it accounts receivable or column 5 account. So I can look, and Kristen goes into our mobile app for our banking and says, hey, there's X amount of dollars this month, right? Cool, there's X amount of dollars. We know what we have to play with. My income is variable. It goes up and down every single month, right? So that's how I'm paid. You might have a more consistent income, and candidly, if you do, then this will be a little bit easier for you, right? So all of my money comes in accounts receivable account. Nothing comes into it besides payroll. Nothing comes out of it unless I trigger it. So no automatic bill payments are set up to that. If I have any checks, they're deposited into that account. Sometimes I have checks from speaking across the country or doing an event, right? We have sponsors, amazing sponsors that take care of our events. I saw Christine on here earlier. Christine, thank you for all your support and promoting what we do. So sometimes I have bills that come, or checks, that come in. They just sit in my same drawer in my desk with my bills, and they get taken care of once a month. So it's really nice now because you can take checks and deposit them into your bank account. How cool is that? We do it all at once. and it's just taken care of one time, right? So column 5 account. Column 5 or accounts receivable account, your money comes in. Have your direct deposit connected to that, right? So have the direct deposit connected to that. Then we have a bill paying checking account, right? That's where all the bills come out of. I fund that account with the amount of bills we have to pay, right? So column 5, checking account is accounts receivable. Column 3, checking account is accounts payable. I had a little bit of an accounting background, so I know some of these terms, right? But it is simple math, and the Excel spreadsheet that I'll send you will break this all down, right? So your mindset should be this, and especially those of you in sales. I'm rich on payday, I'm poor the next day, right? So that's just my mindset, and I look at it as if it's not a good month, I got to work a little harder, right? I got to go hustle and find a few more deals. Cool. So there are 2 systems that you can use for your payments each month, right? So we have things that aren't set up on bills, right? Like I went to Small Chauvel. Awesome burger place in Chicago. If you're in Chicago and you haven't been to Au Chauvel or Small Chauvel, you need to make that happen. But like we went there, right? It went on my credit card, okay? So my credit card I have 2, one for personal and one for business, right? I keep them at low limits of about what I spend, so I can't go above them, right? I also give myself a cash allowance. So my rule is this: if the purchase is above $20, it goes on my credit card. If it's below $20, it goes, it's paid with cash, right? So I give myself a small cash allowance. Kristen gets a cash allowance, right? So we both have, she has stuff with the girls. They love cake pops at Starbucks, right? It's usually under 20 bucks, right? So that's just the system, right? The credit card bill comes at the end of the month, and then we pay it the following month. So if you can see where I'm going with this, I did June's budget at the end of May. So all the bills from May come in, your credit card statement comes in, you pay it in June, right? So May's expenses are paid in June, right? So we don't want to have a ton of credit card debt. Credit card debt is the worst thing. So think about the credit card companies, right? What do they get rich on? What do they get rich on? They get rich on compounding interest. You need to use what they get rich on for yourself. I got rich off of compounding interest in the stock market, right? So use their trick to your advantage. So if you need to cut, if you have credit card debts and they're massive, I would say over 10 grand, cut them up and go to my second option. The second option is the envelope system, right? So those of us in the mortgage industry or the real estate industry, or you're in sales, it's easy to accumulate debt. It was easy for me to get the $70,000 in debt because I just always had this mindset, oh, I'll make it up next month, right? So if you are $10,000 over credit card debt, I do this to my students in my coaching program. They're mortgage lenders. I have 12 of them. If they come to me with a lot of debt, I'm putting them on the envelope system, right? The envelope system is you're paying off credit card debt, right? You're paying off your bills. Everything gets put in an envelope. You have cash. I live in Chicago and I have been broken into before, so you need to have a safe, right? So if you have that, then you need to go to a cash system until you're out of debt, right? So like It's just a discipline thing. We all need to get better with discipline. I can't have potato chips or chocolate or ice cream in my house because if it's there, I will eat it. If you have credit cards and you're in credit card debt, you will use them, right? And you will keep accumulating debt. It's a bad habit you have. Break the habit, right? So when I need to break a habit, I just have to get rid of it until I'm disciplined enough to come back to it and use it responsibly. So once the money's in the envelopes is gone, right? You can no longer purchase anything, okay? You're broke. You can't put it on a credit card, right? You need to get disciplined with your budget. So that's just a system I love. And keep in mind, guys, if I can help you guys out with any of these things, I'll post at the end my phone number. I would love to help you out, okay? So, 2 systems. Put it on a credit card, cap your credit card limit, and don't allow yourself to spend above it, and a lot of them won't let you, right? Or go to the envelope system. If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt like I did, go to the envelope system. All right, so I'm gonna send anyone that wants my budgeting system at the end of this meeting, I'm gonna send it to you, and I'll keep doing these monthly. We have a few people in my office that I've been helping them on their budget. They're doing great. I'm gonna review them really quick here when we're done, and I just keep them accountable. I'm like their accountability partner. I need one every month. I have it through my coaching program. They hammer on my budget. If I save 20% of my income, they're happy. If I don't, they give me a punishment, like you can't eat out at all this month, right? That's one of my punishments to my students. So the budget system has 5 columns. Column 1 is your bills and the name of them, right? And if there's a balance like a mortgage on it, right? It just shows in that column 1. So the example I'm looking at with my people here are 8 is their mortgage. Their mortgage is $834,534. Their car loan is at $19,000. Their credit card balance, that doesn't mean what they charge this month. That means they have a balance of $6,380. We're gonna get rid of that this month, right? Because you had a great month. So we're gonna take care of that credit card balance, right? So column 1, you just have balances if there are one, right? And the name of the bill. So I can't do mint.com. I hate automation, right? I believe automation is the devil. I forgot my wallet yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay for things? And then I hooked up my Apple Pay. Apple Pay would be super dangerous to me because I would just go click, click, click. I believe automation is the devil. You don't think about it, right? I can't use mint.com. I have to sit down with a spreadsheet. A couple of my friends like Carson Vaughn, my boy Carson, who I coach with, he writes his out literally on a piece of paper. And that's where I started. And I would suggest doing that. There's just something when you take notes and write it down, there's something in our brain that says, oh, pay attention to this. I need to focus on this. If it's just automated in mint.com, maybe some of you are more analytical than I and you can print out the reports and you can look at it and analyze it. I'm just super old school. I have to write it off. I have to like pain myself to write that big number, and it just triggers something in my brain that I got to focus on this now. This is a big deal, right? So I like the spreadsheet because I can edit it and I'm involved in it, and it's not just set it and forget it, right? So column 1 of the budget is how to put your bills and the balances in them, okay? So put the balances in column 1. Column 2 is the minimum you owe. We call our survival, we call column 2 our survival number. The total of column 2 is, hey, if I lose my job, what bills have to be paid to survive, right? I have to pay my mortgage, otherwise I will be homeless. So column 2, you total up, right? If your credit card minimums are, let's say you have a balance of 8,000 and your minimum 75, you put 75 in there. If you lose your job, if you have to go to minimums, you do it, right? So column 2 is just all things that are automatic. Heat, electricity, gas for your car, just things that will, that you have to pay, right? Sorry, I got distracted by someone's comment. So just things that you have to pay go in column 2. Not one-time expenses like an automobile repair or a vacation. That does not go in column 2, okay? Column 3 is, so once again, column 2 is your survival number. So remember on the wealth wheel, you need 3 months of your expenses. That's your survival number. So like oh my God, you live a ridiculous life. $23,000 is this person's monthly expenses, right? So multiply that by 3. We need to work on cutting that down, by the way, but I'm super proud of just how you've grown and the income you're making. But so that's like $24,000, right? So multiply that by 3, right? It's like $72,000 they need in their savings account. Cool? So column 2 is for us to figure out our survival number. We want 3 months of it in a savings account, okay? So column 3, if you've been watching this from the beginning, is what Kristen does. She sits with all the bills and she pays all the bills, right? So remember I said I have a checking account and I call it my column 3 account. I call it that because I move the money from my accounts receivable, or I call it my column 5 account, or you could call it your accounts receivable account. I take all of the money from that account for the total of the bills I need to pay, okay? The total of column 3, this person's is $49,000, right? $49,000 of expenses. The good news is 22,000 of that went to their financial advisor to invest, right? So they have $49,000 that they would move into that bill paying account, and then they would call their financial advisor. I email mine and said, just in this example, pull $22,526.92 and invest it as you see fit, right? So that's how I work with my advisor. So just to review column 3 once again, Kristen, this is how we do it. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but Kristen goes through, she pays all the bills, she sets up all of the payments through our online banking to the bills that we owe. I know I have to move at least enough to cover those bills into my column 3 checking account. So that's where all the automated accounts come from, right? Or automatic billing, excuse me. It all comes from that account. So I have to fund that column 3 account with at least the bills due, right? I can then look at everything left over. And this is the cool part when you get to it. This is like money should be tactical and fun once you get out of survival mode, right? So once you get out of I'm in debt, this is horrible. I feel embarrassed about it. One of the people here that I've been hammering on their budget, they're like, gosh, I just buried my head in the sand. I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, what are you embarrassed about? Dude, I was $70,000 in debt. My boy Jeremy, who is on this program with me and in my coaching, was like well over $400,000 in debt. So it's just like, once you see it and it's a number, it becomes a video game and you got to go to work and figure out how to take care of your problem, not bury your head in the sand and ignore it, right? So the cool part at the end and what Kristen and I have grown into is, hey, we have this much left over, right? Instead of me being gosh, I'm just going to be super abrasive here, being a dick, right? Being a jerk, holding the money over her head, I can say, what do you need this month, honey? Is there anything like you have your heart set on? We did great this month. We were successful in our spending, right? You were way under budget on some of these things, right? What do you want? Is there anything you need, right? And then we figure that out. Cool. We need to save 20% of our income and give our advisor 20% of it. That's this leftover. We have X amount of leftover. What are we going to give to charity, right? What are we going to, are any of our friends in need, right? You know, is there, gosh, one of my coworkers in my coaching program, who's just the most outstanding young man. I love him. I've learned so much from him. Lost his wife. Can we help him? He's got 2 little kids at home. How much can we give him? Let's keep working on giving him money, right? Like, he needs it more than we do. So that's just the mindset. And gosh, at the end of it, it's like, we feel closer, right? And if there's something that's a problem, we have the conflict over the problem. Sometimes I spend too much money. Sometimes she does. We talk about it. But if we're saving 20% of our income and our advisor gets that bill, guess what? It doesn't matter what you do with the rest of it. Go blow it. Go spend it. Go buy yourself something nice. That's okay if there's some left over. So that's what this is all about. That's what this program in this meeting for me and my wife, what it means to me. It's shifted from like, I hate you, Chad, and you're a jerk, and you hold this money over me and you make me feel small, to who can we help out? What can we do for the girls? So what really has helped us, especially since we've had the girls, Nora and Colette, I look at it like this. We can go spend $1,000 on, I love really expensive like Cubs tickets and football tickets. That's my guilty pleasure that I like to spend on. It's not a guilty pleasure. I just love sitting in great seats and going to a sporting event. That's like hers is Chloe purses. And she likes shoes too. So those are the 2 like nice things she likes, right? But it's okay to spend money on that stuff. But we look at it like this. If it's $1,000, right? Can we spend it? Sure we can. Does someone else need it more than us? In this case, with my friend Eric, he needed it more than we needed that purse, or than I needed, behind home plate Cubs tickets, right? But also, if we spend that $1,000, money doubles in the stock market at least every 10 years. If I spend that $1,000 now, that's $2,000 in 10 years if I were to invest it. That's $4,000 from my daughter's college savings. Changes my mindset about spending, right? Some spending and money is emotional, right? And it's respond to it, don't react with emotions. Be tactical about it, right? So at the end, column 3, here's the trick. It's an accounting principle. Column 3, money out, needs to match column 5, money in. So if you have to move money from savings to pay a bill, it goes in column 5, right? So column 3 and column 5 have to match. This system, the first few times, will confuse you a little bit. Gosh, if I can help you in any way, jump on a video conference with you, just get you started, I'm happy to do so. But if they don't match, right, that means your accounting is wrong, right? And if column 3 is bigger than column 5, you have debt, right? So now you can do something about it. But you're not following the process if those 2 don't match, okay? The cool part is column 4. Column 4 is money saved, right? Money to your financial advisor, right? Money to your 401k. So a little trick, if you put money into a 401k, it does not go in column 3. Does anyone know why? I'll tell you why. Because money into your 401k comes out of your paycheck, right? So you wouldn't have to fund it. It's already pulled out. So it goes in column 4. It does not go in column 3. So money saved to us is money paying down on a credit card. So extra money to pay down debt. If you're in debt, I put that in column 4 so I can track how much money I'm using to pay off debt. If you're not paying off debt, anything in column 4 goes to savings, right? If you pay extra on your mortgage, remember I don't like doing that until you turn age 50, right? But that will come, that would also go into column 4. So any debt that you're paying above the balance to pay down the debt also goes in column 4 if you are focusing on paying off debt. Cool? And column 5 I've already established is your payroll, right? It's money in. It's called accounts receivable, right? So it's just a simple system, and you'll see at the bottom for any of you that are interested in seeing this budgeting, or if I can help you in planning to buy your new home. That's what I do. I'm a residential mortgage lender. I'm passionate about it. I help people buy their budgets. One of the people here, I've been helping them on this system to get for their down payment. It's going to happen next month, isn't it? I'm excited about that. So we'll pre-approve them next month, and they'll be off and buying their first home. They've worked for, how long is it? A year? A little bit over a year we've been working on it, right? I'm honored that you chose me to help you with this, and it's just amazing that we get to put you in your first home. So I'm super proud of you guys. So just know, like, the cool part is the bottom. Once you're out of debt and you can start accumulating some money working for you, it's like a video game. And I don't say this once again to impress you. I say it to impress upon you. Like, I was 10 years ago $70,000 in debt. I don't ever have to put a penny towards retirement again. My money is to a point where it will be enough to retire on, right? So and I'm not saying like it's hard to get there, right? But the good news is if you focus on it and work towards it, it can happen quickly. It's been a 10-year journey for me. Honestly, really like disciplined. It's been really since Krista and I have been together. She's an amazing spouse. We've worked on it together. We started joining our finances in 2012. So we've been working on it for 6 to 7 years. I'd say really dialed in the last 5 years, like super committed to it, right? I'm just proud to say that focusing on it and looking at it every month, my income has tripled. My money in the market has quadrupled in 5 years. So the cool part is once you start to see it grow, and you have years like 2 years ago where the market was returning 22, 23, 24%, like it just goes boom, right? And it's fun to watch it. It becomes kind of like a video game, printing out the bottom of this budget. So you can look at it, you can focus on it, you can start to see the growth. But if you don't do this meeting every month, if you have a spouse, talk about it. If you hide from it and bury it in the sand, there's weeks I work 70 hours in a week. Why am I not going to take an hour or two to sit down with my spouse, talk about it, contain the disagreement to that thank you, David. Love you, by the way. Why can't we take that time with the people important in our life to avoid the biggest thing, the biggest factor for divorce is money. And it's because we don't sit and talk about it. So yes, Kristen and I still argue about money. It's contained to that meeting. Yes, I'm still a jerk a little bit about holding the money overhead. I'm really working on myself not to be. I've found just through talking about it, it's because I'm fearful about it all going away because I didn't have much growing up, right? It's just a psychological thing that I'm working on, right? So, gosh, she's been amazing in it. It's one of the best things we've done in our marriage. We've went from like stressed and arguing about money to like little bit of conflict, but super healthy conflict and understanding. And it's just been one of the greatest tools in our marriage. I'm madly in love. I gotta say, I don't know if we would be in the spot we are in our marriage without having this understanding and having this meeting every month. And I'm so passionate about it because I get the trust of many of my students across the country who I have the privilege of helping them with their finances. I've just seen them do amazing things. And the thing I'm proudest about is I've went from being super selfish, being in fear with my money. Last year we gave away $70,000 to charity personally, and raised another almost $600,000 for a cause that's near and dear to our heart because of our daughter's premature birth, the March of Dimes. So it's just, God, we've went from this area of selfishness and focusing on ourselves and living in fear out of money to being able to give money to our community, give back, help others that need it at the time. I'm sure there's going to be a time where we might need it, or one of my family members might need it, or maybe, my daughter's kids might need it. And I just believe the law of the land, as if you give, you're eventually going to get back. So guys, thank you for tuning in. It's an honor to just have you as clients, to have you as partners, to have you as friends. I don't tell these things to impress you. I give the numbers to let you know what this has done for me. It's amazing, and it's all on different scales. It doesn't matter if you're making $10,000 a year or $10 million a year. You can save money. You can accumulate wealth if you're tactical about it, if you watch the money. And gosh, if there's anything that I can do to help you, it would be my privilege and honor. You can email me, chad@thelubingroup.com, CHAD Lubin is L-U, 2 B's like boy, E is an elephant, N is in Nancy. chad@thelubingroup.com. You can call me anytime, 312-731-4939. We'll keep doing these seminars once a quarter, and I would love to be your accountability partner and help you with your budget. Thanks for tuning in.